Good morning, everybody. My name is Sergeant Brian Caldwell. I run the training unit at Manchester Police Department. I'd like to thank you for all braving the weather. We've been very spoiled with mild weather this year, so thank you for coming out. I'd like to ask you at this point to silence your cell phones, please. On behalf of Chief Carlo Capano and the Manchester Police Department, I'd like to welcome you to today's ceremony. Normally we would have Father Tom Steinmetz come up and say a prayer, but at this point I'd like if you could all stand and bow your heads, observe a moment of silence for our fallen officers across the nation. Thank you. I'd like to invite Commissioner Steve Spain up to give the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. At this point, I'd like to introduce the command staff of the Manchester Police Department. To my left, Chief Carlo Capano. Continuing on to the left, Assistant Chief Ryan Grant, Captain Mark Sancomeni, Commander of the Special Enforcement Division, Captain Sean Layton, Commander of the Investigative Division, Captain Brian O'Keefe, Commander of the Community Police Division, and Captain Joe Mucci, and my favorite captain, Commander of the Administrative Division. Missing today, Captain Al Aldenberg, who is the Commander of the Patrol Division, and also Captain Steve Mangoni, who is the Commander of the Professional Standards and Legal Division. To my right, the Honorable Mayor Joyce Craig, Police Commissioner Steve Spain, Police Commissioner Manny Content. Excuse me. I'd also like to recognize retired Officer Jerry Berry. We like to say MPD is a family, and later on in the ceremony, Todd's son will be receiving an award for his outstanding service. So, thanks for coming. It's great to see you. So, I'd now like to invite the Honorable Mayor Craig to come up and say a few words.
Good morning. Such a pleasure to be here with all of you to recognize the tremendous efforts of the Manchester Police Department. I'd like to extend my congratulations to Sergeant Georgioulis on your well-deserved promotion, and to all of the officers receiving the honorable service and life-saving medals this morning. Thank you for your dedication, your hard work, and service to the people of Manchester. I'd also like to congratulate Officer Fagundes for being named Manchester Officer of the Year. A member of the Manchester Police Department since November of 2016, Officer Fagundes is routinely described as selfless, positive, and approachable. His exceptional work ethic and his dedication to the City of Manchester are unparalleled, and he is a tremendous asset to both the department and our community at large. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for being here today and for all that you do. As residents of the city, we owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you for making our community a better place. Enjoy this morning, and thank you again.
Thank you. Good luck. Sorry. I'd like to introduce Chief Capano, who'd like to say a few words.
Brian did that on purpose. I know his game. I know what he does. So good morning. First of all, I just want to thank you all for being here. We've had a very busy week or two leading up to today, and I would just want to start off by recognizing our three officers that were injured last week: Officer Olivia LaCroix, Officer Brennan Langton, and Officer Kevin Shields. These were the officers that were stabbed this past week in a domestic call that they were responding to. Thankfully, all are recovering and they are home doing well. And I mention this because it truly highlights the dangers that our police officers face each and every day when they call into service, and the sacrifices that we make on a daily basis keeping our community safe. So I just wanted to mention them really quick. I also wanted to talk about this busy week that we've had with First in the Nation primary, numerous candidates visiting the city, and topped off with just an incredible crowd that showed up for the presidential visit at the Sanu Arena that is extremely taxing on the city and on the police department. but as the chief of police here in Manchester, I couldn't be prouder of how our agency handled all the events over the past week or two. So today's ceremony is a bit different than what we usually do. Usually we try to do a ceremony with just the awards, but we are very excited to be doing the promotional for Sergeant Nick Georgioulis. I do want to thank the mayor for all of her support and the support of the full board. Without the support of the mayor and our board, we wouldn't be here today being able to do these promotions in such a timely manner, so thank you, Mayor. Today I'm honored to be promoting a sergeant who's certainly more than deserving. I always talk about how impressed I am with the list of candidates that we have every time we look at this promotional process, and it certainly makes my job difficult as a chief of police. Many of us know the amount of work that goes into testing process, and we know the disappointment when you aren't chosen to be promoted. I, along with my entire command staff, we appreciate each and everything you do every single day that you report to work. The promotion that you're going to hear about today is for Sergeant Nick Georgioulis. Nick has been employed with the Manchester Police Department just over 11 years and has proven himself time and time again through his work ethics and his hard work as a Manchester police officer. His experience alone will add to the patrol division, where he is very excited to be on the midnight shift, and his daughter kindly pointed out that Daddy works nights. So that was very cute, Nick. He will be assigned to that shift, and he's undoubtedly going to make an extreme difference as an outstanding street supervisor. Nick is an absolute professional. He's confident, hardworking, and clearly has all the leadership qualities that I'm looking for in a supervisor. Nick has been part of our patrol division, a school resource officer, and he's also been part of our juvenile division as an investigator prior to his promotion, investigating some of the worst crimes that we see with sexual assaults on children and violent crimes on children. Nick actually has a cheering squad back there from the CAC that has worked with him over the years and speaks very highly of Nick. I may have gotten a threat from Assistant Chief Grant's wife if I didn't promote Nick, but we took care of that. So soon you're going to hear why he has been selected, and you're going to certainly appreciate his job knowledge, his experience, and his expertise that he's going to have to offer as a supervisor. Every officer in the room, current or retired, know firsthand how much time goes into building your career and the stress that it puts on your families. So to you and your family, Nick, congratulations, you've earned this. Along with Nick's promotion, I'm equally excited to be presenting a few awards today, to include our 2019 Officer of the Year Award to Officer Felipe Fagundes. Today, you're all going to get to hear a small portion of the hard work that goes into the city of Manchester and what our police officers do each and every day. I think what you will hear is going to impress you. It's going to give you a better understanding of what our officers face each and every day that they sign into duty. My hesitation when we do these awards is that this doesn't show the true meaning and the true work that goes into the Manchester Police Department and what we do every day. This is just a simple highlight and just a snapshot of some of the work that's going in with the awards that you're going to hear today. You're going to hear how, without a doubt, the incredible acts of bravery, selflessness, and the things that these officers do to make this community safe. And that's what makes it so hard when you're having these ceremonies and you're presenting these awards, is because not only the recipients of these awards, every officer that you see in the room today, they do the same type of work out there. These are the ones that just happen to be getting their awards today. So those of you that are receiving awards, thank you. To all of you that have worn and currently wear our uniform, thank you for your service. And to you, Nick, to your family, congratulations on your promotion. And when I talk about the officers that have worn this uniform in the past, I'm looking out here. I won't say Jerry, I say Todd Bieri. I recognize you out there. Andy Vincent and Nicola Dew. So I certainly appreciate that, and I see Brian Atato somewhere out here. There he is. So he recently has left us a little bit early than what we wanted. But to all of you, I truly appreciate everything that you did. You paved the road for the officers that are working here today wearing that uniform. So thank you, and please enjoy what you're about to hear with these wonderful officers and what they do for the city of Manchester. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Now I'd like to introduce our newest sergeant, Nicholas J. Georgioulis. Nick Georgioulis is a graduate of North Andover High School in Massachusetts. In 2009, he graduated from Northeastern University, earning his Bachelor's of Science degree in Criminal Justice with a minor in Spanish. Nick was hired by the Manchester Police Department in 2009, excuse me, the dates are wrong, I apologize. In 2009, he was hired by the Manchester Police Department, is that correct?
That is right.
All right. When did you graduate college?
The same.
The same?
That's right.
Right out of school?
That's it.
Okay, they weren't wrong. He earned his police officer certification from New Hampshire Police Standards and Training Council in 2010. During his tenure with the department, he has attained certifications in various specialized training programs. Nick is a certified Spanish-speaking officer. These language skills have had a direct positive impact on multiple investigations, and he is an asset to the agency. Nick served as a patrol officer for 4 years, primarily on the midnight shift, where you'll be going back.
Already?
In 2014, Nick was reassigned as a school resource officer at Hillside Middle School. In 2015, Nick continued in the juvenile division, becoming a delinquency investigator within the unit. Later on, he was reassigned to the Chase unit, investigating some of the most heinous child abuse and sexual exploitation cases. Throughout his tenure as a Chase investigator, Nick was often the lead detective in cases involving serious abuse, as well as child death and homicide. He worked some of the most egregious cases, but did so with a compassionate, caring, and empathetic approach that brought justice and closure for victims and their families. As a result, Nick was recognized for his dedicated work by the Child Advocacy Centers of New Hampshire and the Granite State Children's Alliance. In 2018, Nick was honored with the Everyday Hero Award by these law enforcement partners. From 2017 until his promotion, Nick served as a crisis negotiator on the SWAT team. He has also volunteered his time to the Manchester Police Athletic League's Ambassador Program, serving as a mentor of a high school student. As a sergeant, Nick will be assigned as a patrol supervisor on the mighty midnight shift. Nick and his wife Bettina have 2 children, Alexander and Marina. Sergeant Nicholas J. Georgioulis. Now Chief Capano will administer the oath.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially enforce and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the laws of the state of New Hampshire, and the Code of Ordinance of the City of Manchester? That you will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudice, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence your decision? That you will recognize the badge of your office as a symbol of public faith, and that you will accept it as a public trust to be held as long as you are true to the ethics of police service and will perform all duties incumbent upon you as a police sergeant for the City of Manchester, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank
I'd like to invite his wife Bettina up and his daughter Marina and son Alexander to pin Sergeant Georgioulis. Congratulations, Nick. I'd now like to invite up Detective Michael F. Karen and Officer Adam S. Terizzi. On September 28, 2019, at approximately 8 o'clock p.m., a caller reported a male subject near the top of the stairs on the Bridge Street Bridge. The male appeared to be in distress and had apparently been on location for some time. Officer Adam Terizzi attempted to make contact with the individual. The male then jumped onto the edge of the railing, now perched 20 to 25 feet from the ground. Officer Terizzi initiated a conversation with the male subject. The male remained on the railing, however, he alternated between kneeling down and standing up, indicating that he was going to jump. The man would at times look away from Officer Terizzi, scanning the area below the railing. Officer Terizzi continued to speak with the man as Detective Michael Karen arrived on scene along with the mobile crisis response team. After nearly an hour of conversation, no progress had been made negotiating with the man to return to safety. The man diverted his gaze from the responding officers. At that moment, Officer Terizzi and Detective Karen seized the opportunity to wrap their arms around the man and pull him off the railing to safety. In recognition of their exceptional performance of duty, life-saving medals will be presented to Officer Adam Terizzi and Michael Karen for the decisive, immediate actions which prevented a tragic outcome to this potentially life-threatening situation. Officer Adam S. Terizzi and Detective Michael F. Karen receiving the life-saving award. Now I'd like to introduce Officer Austin M. Bieri. On October 2nd, 2019, at approximately 7 p.m., Officer Bieri initiated a motor vehicle stop after he observed a vehicle with hazard lights on travel through a red light without stopping. The female driver immediately told Officer Bieri that her 5-month-old daughter was experiencing a medical emergency. She was rushing the child to the ER. Officer Bieri observed the infant to be in distress. He immediately removed the child from the vehicle and requested an expedited response from emergency medical services. Officer Bieri observed the child was limp, not breathing, and her eyes were rolled back. Believing the child was choking, Officer Bieri reverted to his training, turned the child onto her stomach, and began administering light back strikes. Officer Bieri had just learned the technique during recent CPR training. After several back strikes, the child vomited, at which point Officer Bieri ceased the technique. He then held the child upright as she began to open her eyes and gain consciousness. Officer Bieri continued to hold the child, attempting to stimulate her to remain conscious. Simultaneously, he continued to comfort the child's mother and grandmother. The child was subsequently transported to an emergency room by emergency medical technicians. The director of the emergency room stated that based on the description of the symptoms, the child had experienced an unexplained critical event. Officer Bieri's immediate recognition of the symptoms and proper application of the back strikes ultimately changed whatever process was going on with the infant. Officer Bieri's actions significantly helped the child's outcome. The Honorable Service Medal is presented to Officer Austin Bieri in recognition of his initiative and competence during this highly stressful situation. Officer Austin M. Bieri. Officer Felipe G. Fagundes. Officer Felipe Fagundes has been a Manchester police officer since November of 2016. Officer Fagundes has been assigned to the Patrol Division, but has been utilized throughout the department for his fluency in Spanish and Portuguese. He regularly assists the other divisions within the department and is also very active with community meetings throughout the city. The best way to describe Officer Fagundes is he is the selfless, silent professional who never seeks acknowledgement, despite his hard work and diligent efforts. Officer Fagundes was named Officer of the Month for April 2019 due to his work that included 2 notable incidents. On April 10, 2019, Officer Fagundes conducted a motor vehicle stop during which he initiated a conversation with the vehicle operator in English. There was a young child in the rear of the car, and the operator had a brief interaction in Spanish with the child, referencing concealed drugs inside the vehicle. Officer Fagundes did not divulge that he understood Spanish and allowed the operator to continue to converse with the child. Based on the information exchanged during that conversation, Officer Fagundes subsequently arrested the driver for possession of cocaine. Officer Fagundes later discovered cocaine on the operator, but also a large street-level quantity found within the vehicle. During the booking process, Felipe located a bag of carfentanil, a deadly synthetic opioid. Felipe's patience and keen street sense led to an excellent roadside seizure and prevented potential exposure of the child to further dangers of drug trafficking. Again, on April 11, 2019, an arrest was made of a suspect who perpetrated a series of armed robberies which occurred throughout the inner city. Officer Fagundes conducted an interview in Spanish with the suspect's wife. During the course of the interview, he obtained valuable information which was critical in building probable cause for the robberies. Officer Fagundes' excellent work ultimately led to the suspect being indicted federally for several armed robberies. Later on in 2013, during the months of October and November, in conjunction with his regular patrol duties on the midnight shift, Officer Fagundes was assigned to assist the Special Enforcement Division with Operation Hidden Agenda. The operation was an ongoing investigation into a drug trafficking organization operating throughout the city. SED called on Officer Fagundes to overcome a language barrier presenting itself within the individuals involved. Officer Fagundes assisted daily with the investigation, during which historic quantities of fentanyl were being trafficked within Manchester. Due to the large sum of cash that was being put in play during this operation, Felipe was leaned upon for his translating skills. His assistance was invaluable in ensuring controlled operations were completely safe and successful. His translations were of a major significance to the case, where he often recognized and deciphered the street slang utilized by this organization, which provided excellent intelligence for the investigators. Felipe has also assisted with multiple interviews where he was able to cultivate additional informants. During interviews and interrogations, he was able to build a rapport with the suspects, allowing him to extract significant intelligence relating to the day-to-day functions of the drug trafficking organization. Throughout this assignment, Officer Fagundes was referred to by members of SED as highly motivated, always maintaining a positive attitude, and working tirelessly despite coming off a midnight patrol shift. Felipe's hard work and dedication to this case was instrumental in leading to the largest MPD fentanyl seizure to date. Felipe's hard work extends well beyond the walls of the police department. He's also very active with bridging the gap between community and law enforcement by conducting outreach at local events. In February of 2019, Officer Fagundes represented the department at a Know Your Rights event at St. Augustine Church. This event was for the Spanish-speaking community, during which he interacted with those in attendance and answered many questions for those that were on hand. The event coordinators applauded him for his professionalism and indicated that he was very well received by the community. In June, Officer Fagundes spoke at the New Hampshire Alliance for Immigrants community meeting. He was recognized by the program director for being approachable and his excellent ability to connect with the public. This was clearly indicated when the event came to a close and significant line formed with patrons looking to speak with him. These examples are characteristic of the work that is done on a daily basis by Officer Fagundes. He is routinely sought out for his assistance throughout the department and always responds without hesitation. Although he's regularly pulled in numerous directions, he always puts his primary function as a patrolman first. His quality of work never wavers. He goes about his shift quietly, not seeking acknowledgement from his superiors or peers, and never complains. He is without question an asset to this department and community, and it's for these reasons and these examples that are cited that Officer Felipe Fagundes has been selected as the Officer of the Year for 2019. Officer Felipe G. Fagundes, 2019 Officer of the Year.
Congratulations. Thank you.
So along with the award that we've given to Officer Fagundes, he also receives a certificate for a firearm donated by Sig Sauer. Congratulations to everybody receiving awards, and also to Nick on your promotion. This concludes today's ceremony. I want to thank you all for coming. I'd also like to acknowledge my training staff who puts these events together and supports me on a day-to-day basis, makes me look good. I really appreciate them. Officer Jason Keim. Senior Officer Carlo Accordo. The newest member of the Training Division, Officer Bill Dan. Training Specialist and Range Master, Officer Todd Leschny. And Officer Warren Coy Tanner. So again, thank you for braving the elements today. I'd like to invite you all up to come take pictures with your family with our backdrop. Have safe travels. Thank you.